Welcome to Credentialed Coach School, the podcast designed to prepare your mind, body, and soul for a dreamy coaching business. I'm your host, Amanda Bybel, founder of the Inner Beauty Bybel and Credentialed Coach School. Each week, I'll share strategies to elevate your coaching career and to chat with successful entrepreneurs on what it really takes to grow your thriving coaching business. Take a deep breath and let's get started on building your dream business. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Credentialed Coach School, where we dive deep into the world of coaching, into the world of self-discovery, creating long-lasting and sustainable change. I am your host. Hello, Amanda Bybel. And today we're going to be diving deep into a topic that every aspiring coach and new coach and established coach needs to master. Not only are we going to cover the difference between coaching, consulting, and therapy, but we're going to be talking all about powerful questions. So, my goal for you is by the end of today's episode, you'll have a really clear understanding of the distinctions between coaching, consulting, and therapy. But more importantly, you'll learn how to apply powerful questioning techniques to empower yourself as a coach, but also obviously to empower your clients. So, before we get started, I wanted to just ask a question to you. What brought you here today? What specifically were you hoping to learn in today's episode? What keeps you coming back to learn even more? So, the more we ask our clients questions, the more they are actually able to take a moment to really think about it. So, something that I like to ask my clients all of the time is, what brought you here today? Now, it might seem pretty straightforward, but I want them to always take a moment to really think about what brought them to the session. So, if I were to ask you that same question, just like I did a second ago, why are you here? What brought you to this podcast? What are you hoping to gain? So, the answer you came up with might also be a pretty surface level reason, which I mean, most of the time it is. But as we know in coaching, there's always so much more beneath the surface. So, let's just dig a little deeper. So, I want you to ask yourself, what else brought you to this session? What else brought you to this episode? What else? So, what specifically? This simple exercise helps you to uncover the deeper motivations of attending today's podcast episode, like today's workshop, and the needs that really drive you, something that you can also use with your clients, right? So, we'll say, like, what brought you to today's session? What specifically? And the more specific that you're able to get with your client, the deeper that they're going, and the more you're getting away from the surface level reason, and the closer you're getting to the root problem. Okay. So, with that in mind, let's talk about today's topic. So, how coaching differs from therapy and consulting, and how to weave in powerful questioning as a coach, because that is pretty much the main differentiator here. Okay, let's start by talking about coaching. What is it at its core? So, obviously, by now you have been listening. Why do I keep saying attending? I'm talking about this like as if it's like workshops and trainings, but I guess they're kind of like similar to workshops, because my goal here is to set up all of our episodes in a way that feel really, really good, and you walk away with like key actionable steps and takeaways and all of the things. But let's start by talking about coaching. What is coaching at its core? So ask yourself that question. What is coaching at its core? Right? Coaching is not only a partnership that you're creating with your client, but it focuses on empowering your client to access their own inner resources, to access their own inner knowing, so that they are able to consistently achieve the goals that they're wanting to set for themselves. So it's about asking powerful questions. It's about asking goal oriented questions rather than providing solutions. So So the role of a coach is to guide your clients to discover answers within themselves and helping them focus on what they can do now and in the future. So something that I notice a lot inside of this coaching industry, if you will, are people who are parading around as coaches and are walking a really, really fine line between coaching and therapy. So, one of the key differences between coaching and other healing professions, helping professions like therapy, is the emphasis on present and future. And therapy often dives into like the past to heal old wounds. Coaching is really about what the client can do now and how they can harness the now in moving forward. So we really only reference the past when it's useful, like leveraging past successes to fuel future achievements, or if we're needing to release something from the past so that we can be further impacted into the future. Like maybe it's releasing an old pattern or an old trauma or an old belief that is preventing our client from leveraging their resources or actually moving forward. So, with coaching, it is about empowerment, it is about success. Coaching is a process that encourages your clients to truly step into their power and create success on their terms, whether it's short term or long term. The goal is always empowerment, okay? It is about question based guidance. So, coaches ask questions that help clients access their inner wisdom, that allow them to tap into their inner resources rather than giving advice or solutions. Coaches guide clients to find their own answers. This is a super collaborative and co creation process, constantly adapting to the client's unique needs. So, this is where I think a lot of people get it twisted, where they think they're supposed to have all the answers for their clients, and that's actually what consulting's about, right? Consulting and strategists are about giving advice and giving like the 10-step strategy or having all of the answers. It's having a space where you're in like an area of expertise or an authority position where you've like done all of the things like in a business sense or something like that. But it's not about having the answers, it's about guiding your clients to their own answers. Coaching is also solution oriented. So, coaching is about focusing on the desired outcomes and the different goals that your client has and the steps needed to achieve those goals. It's not usually about the past, right? Acknowledging problems, acknowledging struggles, acknowledging obstacles that have come up before are, of course, recognized and talked through, but it is not the core of your session. And it's also a non clinical focus. So, unlike therapists, coaches don't diagnose or treat clinical issues. So, the emphasis is always on growth, it's always on development, and it's always on achieving specific goals and taking action. So, the contrast with consulting is a different beast altogether because a consultant is hired to provide expertise and solutions based on their specialized knowledge to a client. So, exactly what I was talking about before. It's about focusing on strategies, on data, on performance, on metrics. Consulting gives clients specific steps, like you give your client the actual steps in order to achieve their goals. It's not about asking the client to decide what their goal is. You're like giving them the actual outcome, which are usually based on proven methodologies or industry best practices. So, like if you're helping someone with like ad strategy, you're going to have KPIs or key performance indicators. You're going to have data. You're going to have very specific performance metrics that you're going to base your guidance off of. And that is not what coaching is about. The consultant is the person who is giving the solution. It is giving the outcome where the client is not discovering their solution. The consultant is providing the answers. It is performance oriented based off of measurable outcomes, like again, KPIs, key performance indicators, ROIs, return on investments, and other performance metrics. So, we have coaching, which we just talked about. We just talked a little bit about consulting, and now we can talk about therapy. So, therapy is a longer term process facilitated by a licensed healthcare professional, often rooted in the medical world. The primary goal of therapy is to heal past traumas, address psychological issues, improve emotional well being. Therapists diagnose and clinically treat their patients, okay? Focusing on resolving past problems and working through emotional challenges. This is all past focused exploration. So you're as a therapist is going to be diving into and digging into past traumas, past events, past emotional wounds to heal and to move forward from. While we do touch on this slightly in coaching, like with time technique specifically, it's about releasing past trauma, right? But it's not about revisiting it, it's about releasing it. So that's a big difference between coaching and therapy. So this is about therapy is about exploration, coaching is just about release. Therapy is also about clinical diagnosis. So, therapists are often qualified to diagnose and treat mental health conditions. So, we do not do that as coaches, okay? This is a key differentiator from coaching. This is not your job as a coach. And therapy is most often problem oriented. So, while of course therapy does aim to have a positive outcome, otherwise, no one would really be ever seeing a therapist anyway, the process is often centered around understanding and resolving problems from the past. So, now that we've outlined the differences, let's talk about coaching and talk about how you can implement some of these concepts with your clients. Okay. So, one of the most powerful tools in your coaching toolkit is the ability to ask questions. So, questions that assume the client's success as a given. We want to help them see it how they want it, and we want to help them step into the identity of someone who has already achieved their goals. So, some examples of powerful questions that you can use in your sessions are: what action steps can you take over the next week that will create success? What do you know that you can do now to move towards your goals? What resources do you have that you can commit to take a step towards the success that you're desiring? What are you able to feel now, knowing that you will be successful? That is all about raising the vibe. What becomes possible for you after you've achieved this goal? What beliefs are present, knowing that you are firmly on track to achieving these goals? What are you likely to create given the fact that your goal is already manifesting for you? What actions you take now, knowing that this goal is a done deal? I just like rattled off a whole bunch of them. I feel like everyone calls me the question queen because I'm like so good at asking questions. I love journal prompts. I love all of the things. But I was thinking when I was thinking and brainstorming of different topics of what to talk about today, something that really like hit on me was a story that came up when I was getting my trainer certification. So obviously I have certification. I'm a life coach, a certified life coach. I'm a master certified life coach, and I'm also a trainer, which means I have done extensive training to be able to develop the accredited certification that I have for you guys when you enroll in Credentialed Coach School. It is an accredited school with 3 internationally recognized boards. So that isn't something I just developed, it's something that I got specific training for that has allowed me to create such an impactful and foundationally necessary process in your coaching journey. But when I was getting my trainer certification back in the summer of 2020, like literally I was in South Dakota right now, like during the height of the pandemic. And I went through master certification and my trainer certification, and it was like a lot of fun. It was a lot of fucking work. I was 17 weeks pregnant. I was by myself in the middle of South Dakota. I'd never been there before. It was like the wild, wild west of all times, like because, it was the height of the pandemic and like it was a scene. It was just a scene. But I remember having the opportunity to go through all of these trainings and having my mentor at the time ask me a couple questions. And I remember thinking, like, oh my God, how powerful are these freaking questions? Because they were giving me answers that I never thought of before, and they were getting me to take specific action. And that is the point of asking powerful questions, is it helps someone get out of like the realm of overwhelm and define what the actual action steps are. It gets people moving into movement, or allowing themselves to chunk up beyond like the perfectionism to see like what the actual purpose behind something is and why they're doing it to begin with. So during the trainer certification in South Dakota, I had my trainer. His name is Ryan Simmons. Shout out to you, from Transform Destiny. It was amazing. But we went through the part of the training where we really focused on speaking and like delivering. And each day we would have to just like talk in front of an entire group of people. And by entire group, I mean like there's like six of us. It was not like a major thing, but it was a lot of people. Like if you have to stand up in front of people, like it gets nerve-wracking, right? So every day he would give us feedback to develop and get better. So the feedback that he would give, he would always follow it up with specific questions like, how are you going to integrate this the next time you speak up in front of the class? What are you going to commit to, and how are you going to commit to it? And those questions, I swear, were like major life-changing questions for me because it allowed me to tap into what it was that I needed to do in order to do better and get better. And it allowed me to help myself hold myself accountable. And that's why like we have such a huge emphasis on asking powerful questions because they don't only just give information but and guidance, they help the client embody the mindset of success. So when you frame your questions in a specific way, you're helping your clients visualize their success as an inevitable outcome. So what are you going to do to hold yourself accountable so that you achieve your goal? What actions are you taking so that you'll achieve your goal? This all makes it easier for them to take the necessary steps in order to get there. So, when we talk about the key action steps that you could start implementing today as a coach, it's to number one, of course, ask powerful questions. Asking powerful questions, just ask questions. Start every coaching session with a powerful, goal oriented question. So, instead of asking, what's the problem? Try asking, what outcome do you desire? Not only is this going to shift the focus from what has been a problem up until that point, it's going to help shift their focus to the possibilities, right? It is saying it how they want it. If we are focused on what they don't want, we're going to get more of what they don't want. If we're focused on what they do want, then we're going to be able to plug that end result into the GPS and allow them to come up with an action plan that will take them there. So something that I find so much is that people are always saying what they don't want to feel, how they don't want to be, what they don't want to attract more of. Well, that's great and all, but that gives us actually no direction. So we always want to find out what our client desires. So what outcome do you desire? So when we ask questions that allow them to see something as inevitable, to see the end result, it helps us as coaches to focus on the future with them. So it's allowing them to focus on what they do want. And for us, it's helping us steer conversations towards the future so that we can encourage our clients to think about what they can do right now and what they can do to achieve even more success in the future, rather dwelling on like past failures or challenges that have happened or how they've fallen short in the past. Another thing that you'll want to do with powerful questioning is to leverage past successes for them. So when the past does come up, you can use it as a resource. So ask your clients to recall a past success and explore how they can leverage those experiences to achieve their current goals. And another thing that you can do is to help them create a success plan. So this can include specific action steps, milestones, deadlines. It encourages them to commit to these steps. And when people write it down, they're like 50% more likely to achieve their goals. I talk about that in one of the workshops that I go over. When you write a goal down, you're 50% more likely to achieve it. And when you get someone to hold yourself accountable to, you're like 90% more likely to achieve it. I forget where I saw that statistic, but it's always stuck with me. So when you follow these steps, not only are your clients going to move forward with confidence, but like you're also going to be more confident as a coach who actually empowers and inspires your clients to consistently and regularly transform. Okay. So remember, coaching is all about guiding your clients to discover their own answers and empowering them to take action. By focusing on powerful questions and helping them visualize success and really talking about future oriented thinking, you're setting your clients up for long lasting and sustainable change. You're helping them redirect their focus and really think about and start taking action towards what it is that they do want. So, quick little recap for today. Number one, coaching is about empowering the client and focusing on the present and the future. Two, consulting is providing strategies and solutions based on an expertise. Therapy focuses on healing past traumas and emotional well being. Using powerful questions to help your client visualize is really the thing that is going to move their success into actual action and to actualize in their reality. And then last but not least, implementing the key action steps that we discussed before is definitely going to elevate your coaching practice. So that is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into all of the distinctions between coaching, consulting, therapy. I'm sure there are tons more, but these are the ones that I came up with at the top of my head. And I hope this has given you some incredible insights and practical tools to apply in your coaching practice. If you found this episode helpful, please don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a review and share it with someone who could benefit from these insights and from these informations. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Mwah! Thank you so much for listening to Credentialed Coach School podcast. If you like today's show, please give us a 5-star review and tell us what resonated most with you. This helps me to continue to create content that you love and find supportive.